All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Lore Lodge. I'm Aiden Mattis. This is Thorn Bussy. And we are exhausted because we spent the weekend traveling. Why did we spend the weekend traveling?
To give you content.
Exactly. Content that was very expensive to produce.
Yeah.
So we're hoping you guys like this one, and we're hoping it's worth it because we really spent some money on this one. And we're really proud of it. We're really excited.
Yeah.
We had a great time. Met some awesome people. Had some great experiences, and we're very excited to share them with you. We're going to go over the trip on this show right now, but also probably, I'd say weekend after July 4th, we'll probably have this out, right?
Let me look at a calendar.
I don't know what your schedule
time that
is for this, but
yeah,
probably the weekend after July 4th.
I think that's feasible.
All right. We'll let you guys know if it's not going to be then. But
Yeah.
Into Thin Air will be premiering the first episode of our long-form documentary series on these missing 411 cases. And we do not use any politest material. It is entirely our own research, our own interviews. We had some interesting denials, like for requests. We requested comment from a number of people, and we did not get it. We also had some pretty crazy contradictions between the story that we had heard and the story that has been published and what people who were actually there told us. So that's the part I'm most excited to get into and to talk about and to show you, because we got some of these interviews on camera. Also you know what I found the most interesting about it? The number of people who did not know the story.
Yeah.
So you and I obviously knew all the details. The people we talked to, one of the guys knew it through and through.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people we talked to, some of them who we got on camera, some who were just kind of like, us gathering information, were not aware of the story here.
Yeah.
They didn't know. Some of them didn't even know who he was. The girls who were working the ice cream stand, for example.
Yeah.
We ran into, when we were ordering ice cream, a couple of girls who were working the ice cream stand had heard us interviewing somebody in the store.
Yep.
And they were asking us about it. And these are girls who, the one was 19. So she would have been 12 when Tom went missing. You said that it's understandable that she might not know. I still think she'd at least be aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, she may have been aware of it at the time and just, doesn't remember it. But I don't know. I don't find it that surprising. What I found it more surprising was that, of the people that we did talk to, like the first guy, just how much he knew. I mean, granted, he said he's grown up there, his whole life. And he's, his kid was working the store that we were in, and I believe that was his kid.
Yeah, his name's Caden, the kid.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Caden, and your dad, Rich. You were super cool dudes. They sold us. Do you want to show everybody?
Yes.
The Brant Lake thing you got? So we're thinking about either we're going to use this to furnish the studio, and this is going to be our, just a souvenir for us. But we were also thinking about doing a wood burning, like getting a little wood burning kit, and us signing it somewhere. Each of us just writing our signature, and then auctioning it off as a Lore Lodge exclusive item that we got, because I think it's pretty cool. It's actually locally made, so buying this actually did support the local Brant Lake economy, which was something we wanted to do, and it was nice to get this art and get help to support the people who helped us out.
Oh, yeah.
But also, I want to give a shout out to the person who made it, Tabula Rasa. It is Tabula Rasa Woodworks. These are locally made up in the Adirondacks near Brant Lake. So if you want to check those out, I would look that up. I don't know if there's a website for it, but you might be able to find them. Yeah. So we'll have more information about that guy. But to get into our first story today, because we're going to talk about two missing 411 cases, we're going to talk about our trip with Tom Messick a little bit later in the show, and we're also going to talk about Alfred Beilhartz. Now, you were napping for most of this, so he might be hearing all this information for the first time too.
Yes.
Alfred Beilhartz was a 4-year-old boy who went missing in Rocky Mountain National Park on July 4th, 1938. Now, he was with his family, and of course, this was a very long time ago. Families were a lot bigger. Alfred was one of 10 children to this family of... I actually didn't catch his parents' names. That was bad on my part. Probably should have looked into that. So, I want to immediately start by pointing out a few things. National Park, mountains, caves. All sorts of craziness here. And the story, as we get on toward the end, is pretty wild. But essentially what was going on here is that they chose a very remote area of Rocky Mountain National Park, right by Roaring River. And they set up camp there. And the plan was just, I think, spend a few days. It's a pretty isolated region, but plan was spend a few days. And then one day, July 4th specifically, they were on a quick hike over to Estes Park, which is another park within Rocky Mountain National Park because it's a good fishing area. You know, it's 1938. Fishing's kind of what you do.
Yep.
In the midst of the Great Depression. And so they walked over there and they lined the kids up. Apparently this was what they did. They had them all line up and they marched on, kind of like we would have done in elementary school. Now, the hike was not that far. It was short enough that they believed their 4-year-old son would have absolutely no trouble completing the hike.
Yeah.
So it was probably fairly short. I don't know the exact distance. But over the course of this trip, Alfred disappeared. And they immediately figured, you know what, he probably wandered off into the woods, had to go to the bathroom, something like that. I personally am curious how none of his siblings noticed he went missing.
Yeah.
You know, I when I was growing up, I was super protective of my younger siblings. I know this isn't something you'd understand.
I was not one of the having sibling variety.
Yeah. This loser right here, due to entirely it being his fault and nobody else's, had no siblings.
I did not have the pleasure of being tormented by older or younger siblings. I just had the pleasure of using my imagination in a basement to fill my time.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah. And we wonder why I became a film major.
It's okay. I can be your older brother now.
It works for me.
Yeah. I bully you enough.
Yeah, it's valid. It's mutual.
He bullies back. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was confusing me. How did none of his siblings notice that he went missing? But nobody did. And immediately after realizing he was missing, they went into probably panic mode. But what we know is that they searched the area. They were looking around, could not find Alfred. Yeah. So they reported it to the park rangers. Park rangers came out, and this started off a 10-day search. Rangers immediately made the assumption, which when you assume, what do you do, Aiden?
Make an ass out of you and me.
Exactly, and they did make asses of themselves.
Oh,
because they decided they wanted to search a creek. So what did they do? They dammed the creek, they dredged the creek, and lo and behold, no Alfred. So they decided, you know what, let's maybe go back to square one, and rather than just assuming that he's face down dead in a creek, let's get some bloodhounds in here. Let's do what we should have done at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, of course...
What concept?
Yeah, of course, in the time that Alfred had gone missing and they had launched the search, less than 24 hours into the search, another hiker reported that when he was hiking by Mount Chapin, or Chapin, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, this was about 6 miles away from where Alfred went missing. He said that he knew the search was active, and he came in and said, hey, when I was hiking over here, I saw up about 500 feet above me on one of the mountainsides, there's a little enclave, and this is called Devil's Nest. And he was like, I saw something up there. I don't know what it was, but it looked like a child up 500 feet up this mountain. It looked like they were peering down at me, and then the child screamed and was dragged backwards, out of sight. So he went to the forest rangers and said all of this, and they went, yeah, but that's 6 miles away and 500 feet up a mountain. There's absolutely no way he could have gotten 500 feet up a mountain, let alone 6 miles away in less than a day. This is a 4-year-old. And it's not even terrain. This is not simply like walking down a paved road. When you're in a forest like that, if you're averaging 2 miles an hour, you're moving fast. And that's for an adult like you and I. I mean, remember when we were up in Brant Lake, we were trying to figure out how far sound would travel? So I ran about 100 yards into the woods. It took me 30 seconds to get there.
If that, yeah. I mean, like, meaning...
If
that's...
At least 30 seconds for me to get there.
Yeah, that's the low end.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm not an athlete anymore, but I'm still a pretty in-shape guy. Like,
but, I mean, when it's dense forest like that,
yeah,
I mean,
so,
it's,
So if it took me 30 seconds to go 100 yards, there's no way this kid made it 6 miles on his own in 24 hours.
No.
It's just not possible. Also, I discovered those jokes we make about, I thought quicksand was going to be a much bigger issue. I sank. It's here. It's ready for this, and you might want to catch my leg. But,
yes.
I sank to here in mud in about a second and a half.
Yep. So not quite quicksand, but quick mud.
Yeah. Also, by the way, if you like the sweatshirt that I'm wearing, you can see it says redacted. It's very comfortable. This sweatshirt is one that our Patreon members get at the $100 tier, the redacted tier.
Yep.
But you can get it for a one-time payment of just $50 at lorelodge.shop. I know $50 may sound like a lot of money, but hear me out. It's actually a pretty plain and simple hoodie. There's not, you could wear this with just about anything.
Yep.
But also, inflation. Our merch is actually cheaper than a lot of clothes you would buy at the store.
Which is wild.
Yeah, because our markups aren't even 100%. The recommended markup on what you're buying to resell is 100%. Yeah, so we only mark stuff up. We only mark stuff up like 20%.
Yeah.
From what they charge us. So when you buy from us, you're getting pretty good deals.
Yeah.
That said, moving back into the story, they did not consider that he could possibly have actually been sighted 6 miles away. So instead, they brought in the bloodhounds, and lo and behold, Aiden, the bloodhounds, after they had just said, there's no way he's 500 feet up a mountain, the bloodhounds immediately led them 500 feet up a mountain.
Yep.
Not the same mountain, but the mountain that was right next to them.
Yes, a mountain nonetheless.
So, the dogs went about 500 feet up a pretty steep face of the mountain.
Yep.
One that it was essentially impossible that a 4-year-old could have climbed alone and not fallen to their death. So, they follow the bloodhounds up, and what they get to is a little plateau, and on that plateau, the dogs just lied down. They just stopped. When that's what they're trained to do. When they found what they're looking for, they are trained to lay down on their stomachs. That's the signal. Everyone looked around. They went, well, there's clearly no child here. These dogs must be defective. These came out of the factory with bugs.
They haven't been updated.
Yeah,
properly.
the Bloodhound factory just, is not pushing out updates the way it needs to.
No.
So instead, they brought in a second team of bloodhounds and went, surely these bloodhounds will lead us down into the riverbed and confirm that the creek that we just dammed and dredged and absolutely does not have a child in it is where the child is. When I said it doesn't seem like they were actually trying to find him, I meant it.
Yeah.
Instead, the dogs took the exact same path and went back up the mountain, found the spot where the other dogs had been, and laid down. So, either the bloodhounds did not do bloodhound things correctly, or Alfred was there at some point.
Yeah.
Which means that within the first 24 hours of the search, Alfred, probably immediately after he went missing, was brought up to that plateau. He would have had to have been carried.
Oh, yeah.
There's absolutely no other possibility.
Yeah.
Whether by a human or by a wild animal is up for debate.
Yeah.
But he would have had to have been carried. So he gets up there and disappears. And then is sighted again 6 miles away, less than a day later, 500 feet in the air. So whatever...
On the top of a mountain.
On a plateau. On
it. Yeah. Not just like...
Yeah, just there. Yeah. He was not floating.
Considering the channel that we run, it's an important clarification.
Yeah, it is an important clarification. If you want to see people floating, Operation Overlord, the SCP short film, fantastic. Check it out. I love it. It's very good.
I was thinking.
I think Wendigoon's working with those guys on another script too. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were going to reference the new Stranger Things season.
But... No, but also very good.
Yeah.
Very good season of Stranger Things right now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so they, despite it being their only actual lead, they didn't investigate this 6 miles up thing. They just said, all right.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet, personally, that if they had brought the Bloodhounds up there, they would have found the scent. But instead, after 10 days, they basically say, we've done all we can do. Search is over. We'll keep an eye out. We'll keep the case file open. We'll let people know. But in 1938, it's not 2020, 2022, where you see someone and you can immediately call forest rangers. You're going to have to hike all the way back because there's no cell phones. There's no portable technology for communication. So you're going to have to hike all the way back, let rangers know. The rangers are going to have to hike all the way there.
Yep.
And again, this is a pretty secluded area of the park. even if they had investigated it, they probably wouldn't have found him. What they did find over the course of the next few years was a bandage in an abandoned cabin, and this bandage supposedly matched one that that Alfred was wearing. I could not figure out exactly where the bandage was on Alfred. It took us like 8 tries for me to say this correctly while we were filming for the recorded version of this story. But they found a bandage that could have matched it. The article I read said they tested the bandage, but you can't DNA test in 1938. So my guess is bloodhounds.
Yep.
Probably were like, all right, does this match any of his belongings that they still had?
Yep.
I couldn't find exactly how long afterwards. I think it was during the 10 days during the search, but it didn't specify. So, and I want to be clear, the region we're talking about, I'm not sure if I said it earlier, but we're talking about an area that reaches 101 degrees at a maximum in July and 53 degrees at a minimum in July. So there was a pretty wild shift in temperature. Both heat stroke and also hypothermia are possible at that elevation. If he was up 500 feet, the temperature drops very quickly. Windy, it's entirely possible that if he was up on a mountain, even if he had been physically safe, that the elements would have gotten to him within 10 days. And certainly if it was any longer. Now, the abandoned cabin didn't leave any leads, so they had 2 other ones. Later on, somebody reported seeing a child that matched Alfred's description with a man in Nebraska, but they could not get an identity for the man, and so they couldn't follow up on the lead. The other one was that a ransom note was sent to the Beilhartz family about a year later, where they said, we have your son, we went out west with him, he hasn't taken to us, we'll return him for $500. $500 in 1938 money is just under $10,000 in 2021 money. 2022 money, who knows?
It's not even worth thinking about.
Yeah. I already make less money at my job than I was making when I started because of inflation.
Oh, that's that's not.
You do too.
I know.
So that's
real
fun.
exciting.
But yeah, so they wanted essentially a $10,000 ransom. They said they would return the boy within 24 hours if they got the ransom. It was reported to the feds. Now, here's what bugs me about this. The federal government determined, without investigation really, just based off of the note, this is just a cruel hoax, and put it to bed, didn't do anything. There was no attempt to gather the money and put it out and then stake it out and see if they could figure out who was behind it, which, of course, even if it was just a hoax, they'd at least know who played the prank and could punish them, because that's really not cool.
Yeah.
It's also fraud.
Yeah.
So they, I think about that and I'm like, why didn't they do that? There's absolutely no way that nobody had the idea to stake out the ransom can. All they wanted was $500 in a can at the end of the road.
It was just like a weirdly low amount.
Well, $10,000 in
Still.
Today's money.
I mean, most...
It was probably just a hoax, but they could have figured out who played the hoax. That's my point.
Yeah.
So they didn't really investigate it all.
Yeah, but...
And, there's... I'm certain that neighborhood could have dug up $500 between all of them. I know it was 1938, the Great Depression, but...
That was just at the end of it, though.
It was Denver.
Yeah.
So when I think about it, they absolutely, the police department in Denver could have been like, hey, we're trying to, help this family get their son back. Everybody who can contribute, or they could have just gone to their neighbors. They could have spread it by word of mouth.
Yeah.
There are so many possibilities. Honestly, the federal government the feds could have just given them $500 without needing to go through all of that.
Yeah.
It could have just been, we have the 500, here it is, let's see. Instead, they didn't do anything, and Alfred was never found. It has been 84 years, nothing. And even if he was alive, even if there was an opportunity to find him, it's been so long that the chances of him being alive still are so low.
Yeah, pretty much slimmed to none, yeah.
That said, I can't think of any natural, rational explanation for this disappearance. Because when you think about where the bloodhounds took them, bloodhounds are pretty reliable. If you think about where it took them, we gotta believe that at the very least, Alfred was 500 feet up that mountain at one point.
Yeah.
How did somebody not only kidnap Alfred, but then carry him 500 feet up that mountain. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. Anything you can think of?
I mean, the first thing I thought of when we were looking into this was mountain lion, maybe. I mean, it's, a little odd, but like if a mountain lion took him by some part of his body that, wasn't immediately fatal, which is, not terribly hard to do.
Arm,
lower leg, yeah, and then just, kind of either dragged him or, I mean, if,
Although I believe mountain lions tend to drag things by their necks.
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but that's what I understand it to be.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the methodology of murder of mountain lions.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, I mean, that's what makes sense to me in terms of covering that kind of distance in that amount of time, and then also
But if it grabbed him in a non-fatal place, he probably would have screamed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no
and
doubt.
The mountain was not far from where they were.
Well, that was also when he...
And think about when we were up in Brant Lake. Think about, like, how far my voice speaking at this level carried over 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Well, and the only reason I was thinking mountain lion, or at least something of the sort, is when... Because he was up on that hill and then got, like, snatched back after, like, screaming, right? So, like, to me, that's like, oh,
well, it seemed like he screamed after being snatched.
Got it.
But the thing is, if there was a mountain lion, you'd think he'd just be screaming.
Yeah.
In general, like, help me.
Yeah.
And if it was a person, how did that person either get up to where he was and grab him without him making a sound, or did they lure them off the trail and then grab him? But even then, he would have had to carry him 500 feet up a mountain without him making any sound, because he would have had to be completely unconscious.
Yeah.
There's just none of those explanations make a ton of sense.
Nah, the French took him.
It's always the French. Sasquatch.
Oh, that reminds me of. We'll cover it more in the question section. Just with the movie today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the story here. I think it's very odd. It checks off way too many boxes for being something supernatural. The thing that we've taken to calling the flesh pedestrian, is kind of fits here.
Yeah.
Although in a lot of these stories, when it's a kid that goes missing, when they're found, they report that what took them wasn't trying to hurt them.
Yeah.
But also kids' brains.
Yeah.
And what you do when you have trauma is just a ton. But
even as an adult, yeah.
Yeah. So I do really quickly want to transition over to one thing. If you will take a look at your screen, we want to talk quickly about apparently the wrong screen. There it is. Gaia Industries. So this is a company that we are partnering with. They make sustainable bamboo products to replace plastic products. Some of those things that you can find on their website are, if I can find the shop button. Currently, this is what they've got available. Bamboo straws, bamboo vacuum water bottle, bamboo comb, bamboo toothbrush, and a hairbrush. So, all of these totally biodegradable, made from bamboo. I honestly am in full support of this. I think it's awesome. Bamboo grows super easily. You can grow it in basically any temperate climate. So, very sustainable, no plastic waste. Supporting a small business. I'm all for it. I love this idea.
Yep.
And when they reached out to us, I was 100% on board. And you can buy their products with code LORE to both support us and get a discount. So if you're feeling like replacing that old plastic comb or replacing your toothbrush, something like that, you want a new straw. And the straws, I think, are great.
I was just going to say, I really like the straw idea, especially with bamboo. It just makes sense.
So many reusable straws are made of metal.
Yeah.
And obviously a reusable straw made of plastic is better than a disposable straw made of plastic.
Yeah.
But it's still plastic.
But like wood tastes better.
In this case, exactly. It does bamboo is either not going to taste like anything.
Yeah.
Or, and I believe those ones are made from pulped bamboo fiber that is reconstituted.
Got it.
But with a metal one, you get that metallic taste. With a bamboo one, and especially a reconstituted bamboo, you're just going to get the flavor of whatever you're drinking, and then you don't really need to worry about it. So, check this out. If you want to buy this, the link is in the description. Use the code LORE when you buy, and that's all I have for you.
Pricing's good too.
Pricing is actually very good. I mean, 75 cents for a reusable straw. Water bottles will go for $30
Yeah, only $2 for a cone. That's gold.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you look at it, it's honestly really good products. It's good for the environment. It's helping a small business, and it supports us. I mean, what more can you do? So, getting back into... There you go. All right. So, with that little commercial out of the way, and I genuinely do mean it. That was not like, we're not voice acting or anything here. I spoke to the guy who owns it. He's great. His company's great. Absolutely in support of this. So, we now are going to transition for the next 15 or so minutes before we go to question time. And I guess at this juncture, I'll tell you what the donation goals for the month are.
Oh, yeah.
Which, this is a month where we need donation goals because we had to spend a lot of money on this Tom Messick documentary. So, for $250 in the month of June, we will record a Screamo version of the Bob the Builder theme song because you guys wanted it. For $500, I will let probably Kat give me a makeover, full face of makeup. For $750, I will gather some of my friends from around town who know me in all aspects of my life as a podcaster, as a musician, as a bouncer at the local bar, and they will roast me. Or will at least compile their roasts, and Aiden will roast me with them. And then finally, for $1,000, we will make a probably 5 to 10 minute short film that is a romantic comedy about one of us falling in love with the Wendigo. So, you have some fantastic... Honestly, these are some of the better donation goals we've had, in my opinion.
I think so.
None of them involve me dyeing my hair.
That helps.
And they're just fun. I think the rom-com Wendigo one, I really hope you guys hit the $1,000 goal because that would be so much fun.
Oh my god. That'd be hilarious.
So, that is that. But geez. That is supported by our super chats. So if you hit us during question time, whether you have a question or not, it does contribute to the pot. I don't think that Arson is here to keep track of our donations for the night. So if you are, say hello. But yes. Yeah, we'll get into question time in about 15 minutes. Now we're going to talk about that Tom Messick case trip because, first of all, I'm just happy that we survived our stay at the Days Inn in Albany, New York.
How could I possibly forget the Days Inn in Albany, New York?
If you guys want to know what our Friday looked like, we both finished up work, and then I drove over to Aiden's, got there around 8. Aiden and I hopped on the road from... Manayunk, Pennsylvania, which is about 20 minutes from me here in Phoenixville.
Yep.
About a 4-hour drive up to Albany. And got to the Days Inn in Albany, New York around, was it midnight or 1?
About midnight,
About midnight.
We probably got to sleep about 1:30.
Yeah, well, you probably got to sleep around 1:30.
Yeah.
I forgot my anxiety medication, so... also, of course, the comforter on my bed had stains all over it.
Oh, yeah.
The room was warm.
So, we had to open
it was like 78 degrees in the room. So we had to open up the window, which did not have a safety screen.
So the thing that's funny about the bed, the comforter, is that right before then, Aiden and I were having not an argument, but just like banter about, like why he was like, why
about who gets the bed near the window.
No, but not even that. It was, he was just like, why would anybody like waste the money on like, like a 4-star hotel?
Yeah.
There's no point. And I was like, there are certain perks. And he was like, no. Literally 30 seconds later, he's like, there are strange stains on my comforter. And I literally looked at him and went, those are the perks. Meaning that, like, in a 4-star hotel, your things aren't used. Yeah,
I don't think that they had actually cleaned that room that day.
No.
The very nice people.
Yes.
At the desk and all that. Someone's husky is
really just going
singing
for
us
right
the
now.
Song of its people outside right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Peaky Blinder. Next time, pick a good hotel. You guys pay $300 a night for these trips.
Yeah,
I would have absolutely loved to stay in a little, bed and breakfast on Brant Lake. That would have been great. We would have actually gotten to eat breakfast. We did get breakfast, but we had to drive for it.
Yes.
That would have been nice. No, Ryan, the perk is not the stains.
It's not used, it's rustic.
It's not used up. It's experienced.
There's a lot of collective wisdom within those fibers.
Airbnb is also a thing, but all of the Airbnbs were also over $150.
Yes.
We got our Days Inn room for $73. So you know what?
And when...
Had I been able to go to sleep, I probably would have been fine.
Yeah, and when it's currently about $100 for me to fill up on a tank of gas, and we used about 3 of them over the trip.
Yeah, this, like I said, this was not a cheap trip.
No.
So we're really hoping you guys like the work we put in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so days in Albany, we then got to the capital city diner.
Yes.
Where on the menu they had a Philly cheesesteak.
Yes.
That was a long roll with steak, obviously, caramelized onions, of course, rational, mushrooms, not a normal addition, but I don't mind some mushrooms.
A nice spice up to the flavor.
No, the problem was not those ingredients.
No.
It was the cheese, because the Capitol Diner in Albany, New York, who have a picture of the owners with Guy Fieri, but Guy Fieri was not actually at the Albany Diner. Yes, I know I'm pronouncing it Fieri, and I will continue to do so.
I just wanted to draw attention to it,
yeah.
in case it wasn't drawing enough attention to itself. Yeah. Anyway.
So I asked if any of the cooks had ever been to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Kind of jokingly.
Yeah.
The waitress...
I had to diffuse the tension a little bit, because I don't think she realized
he was kidding
initially.
It as an insult, and I was just joking. But they had American cheese on the cheesesteak, which you're supposed to do melted, like Whiz cheese or cheddar cheese, or provolone. Never American. It's a dish from, Italian Americans came up with this, so of course they used provolone.
Yeah.
The Cheese Whiz kind of came later. American?
Not a flavor that I'm familiar with from the area.
Yeah, you would not find a cheesesteak made with American cheese in Philadelphia.
No.
Would not happen. American cheese does go well on burgers.
It does.
It's kind of feels like it tastes like it's made to complement burgers.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm more of a Colby Jack guy.
Yeah.
But
Pepper
anyway,
Jack's good too.
I had some okay waffles. You seem to devour your meals, so that's good.
I did.
Yeah, I got some chocolate milk.
Ooh, TechMan review on the new Jurassic World. I haven't seen it yet, but I began. What movie are we supposed to see on Tuesday?
Jurassic World Dominion.
There we go.
I've heard it's mid.
Well, I look forward to a mid review of a mid.
That's gonna be a fun day because I've got my interview with Pennsylvania Freemason.
Ooh,
yeah,
that'll be fun.
So anyway, the accoutrements of the trip weren't great in Albany.
Like I said, the one time Mattis doesn't support something American.
Yeah. Greetings from Argentina. We have made some reach. Thank you, Julian. Greetings from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
Cat, American cheese is not the same as Cheese Whiz. Just
no, they're not the same thing, Cat.
I'm not a fan of the Cheese Whiz myself. I like.
You realize when they say whiz, it's not like spray cheese. It's melted cheese.
I know.
It's more like nacho cheese.
No, they'll use the stuff from the jar.
Yeah. It's delicious. It's not meant to be good for you.
It's not about good for. I prefer
Noah
the taste
says
of
it
other
is
cheeses.
mid. Apparently,
It's
I'm
mid.
mid.
You're mid?
Well, Alien, now we will never fall in love.
No. They start out as enemies and they end up as lovers.
Oh, God. So we departed Albany around noon.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit before that. And it was about an hour drive. Aiden made it 45 minutes from Albany to Brant Lake. When we got to Brant Lake, we were met with a problem. That problem was that we took the Camaro.
Yeah.
I wanted to take the Jeep. Granted, the Jeep would have gotten us there in about half or twice the time,
yes.
But we would have been able to go down Lily Pond Road.
You know, it was not an anticipated difficulty. And for the references in the episode, the Camaro made sense. You know,
The episode might have some references to an existing TV show.
Yeah.
And by some references, I mean the episode might be heavily based on an existing TV show.
Yeah. I also just realized I don't say the name or the model of my car very often because saying the word Camaro sounds weird to me.
You sound weird.
I am.
Yeah,
I am weird.
He's funky fresh. Anyway, we get there, and since we couldn't get to Lily Pond Road, we changed our plan a bit.
Yes.
We went to a nearby spot where we could actually pull off and park, but it was still too far for us to hike Lily Pond Road.
Yeah.
And we went into the woods. We kind of we're like, all right, this has got to be similar.
Yeah.
The woods were dense, but not dense enough that we couldn't hear each other talking conversationally about 100 yards away. Honestly,
and I could see you.
Yeah, and he could see me. Honestly, I think I would have more trouble communicating with somebody across an open field.
Probably, yeah. Oh, because it was so quiet up there,
Yeah,
too.
it was really quiet. I will say the only sounds we heard were birds and
Yeah.
wind. That was it. Also, lots of bugs.
Yeah.
So
we had another brief conversation in terms of, like, Aiden was saying, I don't understand why anybody would ever want to go down to the shore. Like, it's so nice up here.
I don't like the beach. I burn too easily.
Yeah, and I was like, you forget about the bugs. Keep in mind, the windows were still up and we were still driving at this point. And he's like, come on, nah, whatever. And then we get out, and within 5 minutes, we're having a hard time recording anything because he's just doing this. And he's like, oh my God, this sucks. And I just simply look at him and I go, told you. And yeah, but then he swiftly said, he was like, I would rather take this over a burn any day. So,
Yeah.
How easily do you burn?
Very easily. Mystic Mini, to answer your question for the site versus Patreon, at the moment, just with where we are, the Patreon is set up better in terms of fulfillment, because anytime you sign up for the site, it's the same perks, it's the same bonuses.
Yeah.
But Patreon fulfills stuff for us. Eventually, we do plan to move entirely over to the website, but in order to do that, we need to hire some help. So, soon, but I would say for now, do the Patreon, and we will announce when the site has, surpassed Patreon and when we want people to start transitioning over to the website rather than the Patreon. Some people probably won't want to transition to the website. That's fine. But eventually, probably within the year, the sites will be identical in terms of content. The only difference will be that Patreon takes more of our money. But once we have somebody to actually handle fulfillment of Patreon bonuses on our end, that will all be done. But until we have actual inventory and everything, pretty iffy. I've actually thought about taking that function of the site offline, but or making it free for now.
Also, really quickly, just in reference to the chat, considering I was somebody who grew up doing both beach and mountain lake places like all of my life every summer, I'm not loving the beach slander. I know there's pros and cons to both, but good Lord, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the ocean its fair shake. I guess I'm also more used to the boat more than the beach. That's kind of my...
Is water wet?
No.
I agree with you. Good?
No, and the other way is wrong.
Water is not wet. It makes things wet.
Correct.
I would say an individual water molecule is not wet. However, you could argue that any body of water is wet.
See, I don't like that argument because if you really want to get nitpicky and you're claiming that water molecules around something make it wet, I get it. I understand it. But I prefer to go by the basis of it has to be a foreign object that is not water.
Okay.
Because you can't make water wet because generally wet implies that water is either on or in or absorbed by a foreign object or an other substance.
Fair enough.
So,
we have started a war in the chat.
were we expecting anything else with that question?
No. But
How do you feel about the fact that your bones are wet?
Stop that. Your bones are organs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that bugs you too, doesn't it?
They grow.
Yeah.
They're not fully
Your
solid.
teeth are bones.
I know.
Yeah, you
Not
got
one of
exposed bones.
Not one of them.
Okay, well, you don't have... You have fake teeth, I
I
guess.
have bad teeth.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Water is sticky.
I don't know what kind of water you're drinking, but it's not
It might
water.
be the wrong water.
Yeah.
I guess sugar water would be sticky.
Is that water too?
Water 2. Water 2.0.
Is oil wet? No, only if a surfactant is involved.
Water Plus. Water SE. Water Series X.
Watermark 1.1.
Jeez. Okay, we were off track. We were talking about getting up to Brant Lake and not being able to get down Lily Pond Road.
Yes.
So we had to improvise. So we walked into a store and asked if they knew anything about the disappearance of Tom Messick. Happened to get a guy who has hunted Lily Pond Road before.
Yeah, like all of his life. He's grown up in the area.
Yeah.
He said he goes up Lily Pond and fishes many times and hunts the area consistently every year.
And he had some thoughts about the Tom Messick case that we had not considered.
Mm-hmm.
The story, so far as it has been told, is that at 10 a.m., Tom Messick, 3 of his elderly buddies, and 3 of their kids went hunting on Lily Pond Road up by Brant Lake, New York. They had not hunted this area before, though they were very familiar with hunting around Brant Lake. They went there every year for 55 years. So this area was new, but, you know, not that big a deal.
Yeah.
So, Rich is telling us about things, and he's like, you know, there's a couple of running theories, you know. One theory is that what was the first theory? The one that wasn't the more conspiratorial one. I can't remember exactly what he said. There were two theories. One of them was pretty mundane.
Well, there was the one that he pretty quickly dismissed in reference to, you know, people like generally will be like, oh yeah, well those are the aliens or whatever.
Oh,
like,
right, that's what it was. One theory was aliens.
Yeah.
Aliens
and
or
he was
Sasquatch or you know, something like that.
And he was acknowledging that more along the lines of people just kind of saying that, not actually really believing it for the most part.
His other theory was that Tom was never there.
Mm-hmm.
And that had not occurred to me. I have to go and review some of the footage he talked about, and we'll probably put that into the episode. The footage of the interviews he mentioned.
Yeah.
But what he said was that, first of all, the story doesn't make sense. Tom, supposedly, they sat him on a log 100 yards from one of the other watchers, because what they were doing was they had set it up so that the three younger men would drive any game over a hill, and then the watchers, the four older men, would shoot it if it came their direction. 6-7 hours in, which, by the way, 10 a.m. is a weirdly late time to hunt. 6 or 7 hours in, they decided, you know what? There's nothing here. We're going to go hunt somewhere else. We're going to go hunt closer to camp.
Yep.
So they went to collect everybody. Tom's not there. No trace of Tom. Not even... And this is the part that stuck out to me about what Rich told us. He said when hunters go hunting, where they're going to be shooting, they wipe any brush from the area with their foot back and forth so that they don't crunch any leaves, don't make any sound.
Yeah, because essentially if you're going to be standing in a spot where you're waiting for essentially a deer to come by, you're innately going to shift your weight no matter how still you think you're going to be. And if you don't clear the brush away to be able to just stand on the bare mud or dirt underneath it, you're going to innately crunch on either leaves or sticks or whatever, because keep in mind hunting season is in the fall, so there's a lot of things on the ground. And the slightest little sound can scare a deer off, so you want to avoid that at all costs. Anyway, continue.
Exactly. So he said that the searchers, who he knew, he didn't do the search, but he had buddies who did.
Yeah.
And he said that they said that there was no evidence that Tom was ever where they said he was. There was no brush swept away. There were no candy wrappers, no boot prints, nothing like that. And as I experienced, significant mud in the area.
Yeah.
So what he suggested was nobody. He wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wasn't there, what could it have been? It could have been a cover-up. They could have murdered him and hid the body, and this was their cover-up. Was up. He came out with us and he just disappeared. Or that he's off chilling in a cabana in Mexico or something like that.
Yeah.
One of the other things he said, and I haven't confirmed this yet, but one of the other things he suggested was that Tom's brother went missing from the same exact place the same week 10 years prior.
Yeah.
So maybe Tom and his brother are off in Mexico together. I, again, haven't checked that one out. As far as we know, that's hearsay.
Yeah,
but
we will have from war bonds.
We will have a answer for certain for that when the episode comes out.
Yeah.
So you're honestly getting a pretty cool behind the scenes peek at what we did here. I'm trying not to give too much away.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the suggestion that he was never there, which is compelling, and I think it's interesting. There's also some other details that you'll get to see in the video that are also interesting in terms of stuff that got left out of a certain documentary about this subject.
Yeah.
And what we kind of went into this doing was we had our beliefs about what it could be, but we wanted to go in and record everything and figure out, to what extent we didn't go in trying to prove something. We went in trying to get the story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say David Paulides was trying to prove something. I think he was probably trying to make it compelling. I think he did a great job. I think he's shined a light on stuff, and I think at this point it's time to shine an unbiased, pure, I don't want to use the word journalism because journalists are always trying to tell a narrative.
Well, I mean, no matter how you tell a story, inevitably there are certain things that you're going to have to leave out for time.
Yeah. We're trying to lay out all of the facts without telling you what happened. We're just giving you all the facts, and then what do we think it was.
Yeah.
Which, if you watched our recorded stuff, is kind of what we do.
Yeah.
We then went to another general store and talked with a bunch of people. A couple of younger people.
On recommendation from Rich.
Yeah, on recommendation from Rich. Thank you, Rich. Rich also is the one who sold us that sign.
Yes.
It was called The Crossroads, which we thought was funny because...
Very fitting.
We made a lot of references to Supernatural, and we went to The Crossroads.
Yeah. It was just kind of the perfect like Kickstarter for this.
Yeah, so... That was great. We talked to a lot of cool people. Got to check out some really cool, not antique, but old school rifles.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. They had a Mauser from
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, Czech Mauser from what, World War II or
1947, I think they said.
Yeah.
Sometime like late 1940s.
So
they had that. We
cool
checked
little
that
bit
out.
of history there.
Yeah. They had an Enfield that was a 1941 style. They also had a Springfield 1903 that I almost bought on the spot because it would go really well with my grandfather's World War I stuff that I have, or my great-grandfather's World War I stuff. So I almost bought it. I still might buy it. It was a great time. We got ice cream. Met some really cool people.
I had maple ice cream. That was cool.
Really good.
It was really good.
I got a flurry with black raspberry and brownie bites. So good.
It was very good. I can confirm.
Yeah, and then we zipped back home that night. So
yep.
Pretty whirlwind trip there. I would like to, next time we do this, maybe spend a few days rather than less than a day, but given the money situation.
Yeah. We wanted to stay, but it was more along the lines of, do we really have the ability to spend another even like $100?
Yeah, it was just getting too pricey.
Hotel, yeah.
So, But we are now at the point where it is question time.
Yes.
So, if y'all have questions that you haven't submitted yet, hit us with them, and if not, continue to ask questions, and we might get to them.
Yep.
But super chats get answered first, so
I'll read through.
And they support the channel.
Well, Aiden Shanty for $4.99 said nothing, so thanks, Aiden.
Well, thank you, Aiden.
And then
are you going most recent to?
No, I'm going from beginning to
gotcha,
yeah.
Cool.
Alien for $49.99. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alien.
Said Lego my ego.
Okay.
So that meant that was that a reference to Stranger Things? Maybe. And then next one was from Hammond for $5. Thank you very much. Said, did you know that mountains aren't funny Aidenices? They're hill areas.
I don't know what that means.
Like hilarious?
Yeah.
See, I'm not going to lie. It took me reading that out loud to get it, but clever. Alien for another $49.99. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alien.
Gonna need a Tech Man review on the Jurassic World. Yeah, I'll get you one of those. No worries. And then Mystic Mini 54 for $1.99 said, should I? Oh, that's the Patreon versus website question you got. Alien for $19.99. Hurting my feeler, Aiden, but it's cool. Daddy is better. When you said that, I can't remember what he said, but you were like,
we're not falling in love.
Yeah.
He said I was mid.
Oh, right. Yes. And that's where we're at the moment.
All right. So. History Daddy supremacy. The beach is too sandy. That is my... I honestly don't mind the sand. Like most men, I see sand, I think must dig hole.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's just like when I'm on a beach, I'm bringing a shovel because I need to
gotta dig a hole.
Gotta dig a hole.
Yeah. Honestly, I always feel the urge to dig a hole.
Yeah.
Whenever there's open territory. That husky is just...
He's just going for it. He wants to dig a hole.
He has got opinions.
Yeah, he does.
I think I know exactly what husky it is, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What else? Oh, we hear you, bud.
Sticky water.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about just the innate, instinctual desire to dig a hole.
Rogue Chaos said, imagine cutting your teeth with nail clippers.
Oh. No, thanks. No.
Becca said, how do you feel about how you are a tube surrounded by meat?
Oh, wow, we are.
Yeah.
A tube for consume. Caitlin Kennedy for $4.99. Thank you very much. Said, finish an instrumental of the Bob the Builder theme and sent an MP3 to Lorelodge email.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah. Mole rat
listened
instinct.
to it yet.
Good Lord.
Boy.
Of all the animals that burrow, you went with mole rat.
Mole rat.
Could have gone like gopher.
Gopher? Hang on, I can actually...
Could have gone like ant.
I'm going to pull this
up. A lot of options there. What else? Alien for $4.99 says, 10 out of 10 would dig a hole with y'all. Yes. We always love... One of my favorite things about digging a hole on the beach is like when you start, nobody really takes notice. But the bigger it gets, the more of a crowd starts to show up, like a literal crowd. I don't know if anybody here has ever dug a hole on the beach consistently or not. But, like, you get to a certain point, and people start walking by, and they're like, wow, how'd you do this? And you're just kind of standing there. Like, I've been in a hole with friends of mine that I've been digging multiple times, and people will come up and be like, wow, how did you guys do this? And
when we actually have the physical lore lodge, somebody needed to ask about us getting a lore lodge. We do want to buy a cabin and like have a lore lodge. That would be a lodging and campsite.
Yes,
and,
ideally.
One thing I really want to do is offer free camping, because camping is so much fun, but it can be a little bit prohibitively expensive. So what I would love to do is have the option for people to donate, but also offer free camping, rental tents that obviously would be free. Basically free equipment that all you have to do is take it out, and as long as you bring it back, you're good. Yeah. Probably have to have a deposit or something, but what I want to do is make sure that people can, can camp and bring their kids camping and get out in the wilderness and experience nature for free without having to worry about the pricing, because like tents are pricey.
They are. Why are they so pricey?
I don't know. Probably supply and demand.
That reminds me of a story.
So yes, we had Bob the Builder. What do you mean? Did you?
What?
Yes, he said you guys had Bob the Builder, and I went,
yeah, of course we did. All right, what are we doing here?
This is the Bob the Builder theme that they sent us.
Oh my god.
Caitlin, is this you playing, or did you compile this?
Like, did you play it, or did you do it in, like, Ableton or something?
Yeah. I mean, that guitar definitely sounds like it's being played.
Yeah.
The drums could be MIDI or auto.
Yeah.
This is sick.
Yeah, I'm digging this.
Can this be our theme song?
That'd actually be hilarious. Plaz for $5 said, y'all gotta start planning a trip to Nahanni Valley for an investigation. I mean, we want to keep doing more trips. It's just, can we afford to do it? The answer right now is no.
Yeah, I would love to do Nahanni. That would be a great...
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Fire pit, but make it an actual pit.
Yes. And then Alien for 99 said, I will straight up quit my job and just work at the Lore Lodge campsite / cabin for y'all.
Again, we would love to have people who do that, because obviously we still want to be doing this. Yeah. But we would love to... I mean, we would have staff, obviously. Yeah. Staying at the cabin part would cost money.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to camp, camping's free.
Yeah.
We just basically want to find a spot that's accessible, but, out in the wilderness enough to be away from everything.
Town for the Lore Lodge commune.
Probably going to be either Pennsylvania, Virginia, or West Virginia, I think. We probably wouldn't live there full time, but...
Upstate New York seems pretty cool.
It does, but New York's taxes, man.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't...
No, it's valid.
I can't justify that. Also, I can't justify giving the New York State government money at all, in any sense, ever.
Yeah.
So.
Metal Bob the Builder voice. Can we buy it? No, we can't.
Drums are programmed. Guitars are actual guitars. Dude, it sounded phenomenal. That was awesome.
Okay. That was sweet.
And we hit the 250 tonight. Nice. So we're probably creeping up on 5.
It's just going to be you going.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get my buddy Sam, who's an audio engineer, to help me.
That'd be fun.
To help me record it. We'll see how it goes, because my screaming is not...
You're good at it.
I can do bits, like, a line here or there.
Yeah.
Doing an entire song could be rough for me.
Valid.
I'll have to see what I can do, but he also is in a metalcore band. They probably have a screamer that could help me out.
That's fair.
So at the very least, you'll get your screamo cover. It might be commissioned, but I will sing on it.
Yeah.
But it'll probably be like, backing vocals and a little bit of my own screams.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awesome. We should talk, because we do want a theme song of our own.
Yes.
And we are willing to pay somebody to produce that for us.
We've considered doing it ourselves,
but we are not good enough at writing music.
Yes, we're working on it.
But I did want something that was going to be a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
So that
That's
yeah,
fair.
if you wanna try some stuff out and send us little like samples, we are willing to pay. We can't pay a ton, but I would easily drop $100 on something like that. All of our art was commissioned for $100 as well, so that's kind of our standard rate. Is we want to make sure we're paying people appropriately.
Yeah.
I think we actually overpay to an extent for some of the stuff,
A little
but
bit, yeah. Real quick, Peaky was asking when is the video coming out? Probably like middle of
probably
July.
mid-July. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
want
there's
to come
other
out
stuff
before
we
I
have
go
to-
on that reunion trip.
Yeah, and there's other stuff that we have to record as well.
There's going to be... So this is... It's a documentary, but there's some narrative, like little skits and stuff that you're going to get, probably going to be 45 minutes to an hour. Might end up being longer because some of those interviews actually went longer than anticipated.
Yeah.
So that's that. What else do we got here? West Virginia land is cheap as hell. That's why I constantly thinking about buying land in West Virginia.
You ever think of covering the TikTok commune from Hammond for $2? I'm not sure what that is.
I know what you're talking about. I've heard of it. I know very little about it. I would be happy to do that. Also, I would love it if somebody would pitch us a true crime show.
Oh, that'd be cool. Douglas Ives for $2 says, least favorite song from your favorite band? Ooh.
Least favorite song from your least favorite band?
Good question.
I don't know. From your favorite band?
Yeah.
Well, defining my favorite band is going to be hard. I'd say my top 3 are Green Day, Simple Plan, and All Time Low. Least favorite song from each of them? Simple Plan, it would probably have to be off of their Get Your Heart On, the Second Coming album. Mm-hmm. If that was, I think that's what it was called. But I can't remember the names of the songs. Green Day?
Yeah, I'm gonna while you talk, I'm going to look them up, see if I can...
I do not like the song, Damn, I gotta see, now you got me looking shit up.
Well, there's a lot of stuff from Uno Do Tre that just wasn't great.
I think that's my least favorite set of album.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know some of these songs. The newest Green Day album was unfortunate. Kill the DJ. Kill the DJ is my least favorite Green Day song.
Really?
Yep. And Green Day, I love Green Day.
Yeah.
We do American Idiot and Holiday. Mm-hmm. My band does.
Yep.
I get to sing all of American Idiot. It's one of my favorite songs. There's a line that we have to let the audience sing.
Yeah.
But with Simple Plan, it's probably off that Get Your Heart On 2 album. The Second Coming, there it is. Let's see. Yeah, I just didn't like any of that album. I liked Ordinary Life, but that was it. The Rest of Us was good, and All Time Low does not have a bad song.
That's fair. Yeah, for John Mayer, because he's right up there. Just scrolling through his songs, my least favorite 3 I can think of are probably Crossroads off of Battle Studies, Wildfire off of... I don't know if I hate that song, but it's just not... it's okay. And then Why You No Love Me from
Valid.
the most recent one.
Valid.
I understand where he was coming from. I understand his reasoning. I know that it is a well-structured musical piece.
But Why You No Love Me?
It's a miss.
Yeah.
It's a miss.
Meta Sussy. Your hair looks like ramen. That's valid. I'm getting it cut soon. I need to get my driver's license renewed, and I refuse to have frosted tips on my license for the next 5 years.
You should just dye them dark again.
Bleach it totally.
Is there a...
Cops are like, when were you blonde? It's like for 5 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Is for her free super chat from being a member, because if you become a member, you get to support us that way too. Memberships work as well.
Looks like ramen. I still love that.
161 hit so far tonight. Thank you for keeping track. Tell Archie I love him when you get him back. He is with my parents. Yes. I will get him back tomorrow. Nice. Happy early birthday, Lore Lodge. It's tomorrow. It is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today is the 1 year anniversary of that first viral TikTok.
How's that feel? Let's have a little retrospective
insane
on that for a moment, shall we?
Let's see if there's any more questions I want to get to first.
Yeah.
Okay, so far. John Mayer does have a band.
He tours...
Can we have a killdozer at the lodge? I have to find one.
My goal is to own heavy equipment just to like be able to do things that I want, such as like imagine. So number one, building your own home just from scratch, ideal. You would need heavy equipment to do that like quickly and properly. Secondly, imagine you have a bit of land and like you've got a rough day at work. You come home, you know that urge for men to dig a hole. Well, imagine if you had an excavator in your backyard that you could just fire up for half an hour, dig a big hole, look at it proudly and say, I dug that hole with this gigantic machine, and then fill it back up.
If Aiden gets frosted tips on his driver's license, I'll donate 50 pounds.
Oh my god, that's great.
That could be a donation goal.
Valid.
Yeah, one of these months.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get them again if people want to.
Stop the hair.
Yeah.
Honestly, I forget what you look like.
It would have to be like $5,000. It would have to be a big number. Yeah, I'm not doing that. If you guys can raise $5,000 this month, I will keep the frosted tips on my license.
Honestly,
$1,000 for every year I have to have them.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm so used to the frosted tips now that I like forget what you look like, just straight up brown.
Yeah, it's getting weird.
Yeah,
this has become normal for me, and I'm not happy about it. But yeah, I mean, it's wild because Rex said something about it last night when we were at your place. A year ago today is when I made that first TikTok that went viral, and it was totally unexpected. I remember I was at 600 followers that day, and I got home and I was at like 900. I remember looking at you and saying, "Hey, I think I'm gonna hit 1,000 tonight," and you'd be like, "Oh, sick."
Yeah.
We went out drinking. We got home. I was over 1,000. I woke up the next morning. I was over 9,000.
Yeah. By the end of the night, we were talking about. I think you were like, "I think I might hit 1,200 tonight." I'm like,
yeah.
And you were like, it was starting to slow down as we were going. I was like, "You're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit it."
Yeah.
And then
I figured it. I thought it was gonna just be funny and not a big deal. No, it.
Man, I totally forgot about those days where we were counting the thousands that you were going up and up, and it was like, oh, dude, you're gonna hit, like, when you hit 10K, it was like, oh my god. And then,
yeah, I remember being like shocked when I hit 50.
Yeah. And then over 100, and then I remember 250 specifically being pretty like,
was
like, what's going on here?
And then I got like stuck at like 750 for a while.
Yeah.
And then the Mom Millennial thing. Got me over 1 million. It
which
slowed down so much.
Insane. Like I still. So for you guys there, like we've known each other over 10 years, roughly.
Yeah.
We're just still us, and like I don't consider myself famous because I have 1,000 followers on TikTok and I don't really post.
You do realize you're on this show, right?
Yeah, but like, you're the face of it. That's the thing. And so,
I told him that we are considered macro influencers on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he was...
I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like you're the one on Famous Birthdays. That's, like, my main point. And it's just weird because, like, when we're not doing this...
We're totally normal dudes.
It's just, like, nothing has changed. Like, literally nothing about our lives has changed. Other than the fact that we get together a bit more frequently now to do stuff like this. And
what also is funny is that like I'm well known around here because I am in a band.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've worked at the bar down the street.
I've now gotten to the point where my band was having a show, and I walked outside of the bar for some fresh air. One guy looks at me and goes, "Wait, aren't you the history guy from TikTok?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm literally in the band that's on stage right now, and that's the question you."
Yeah,
I wasn't upset about it at all. It was funny.
It's wild, yeah. Well, and it's just like comprehending that 1.2 million people follow you is insane. Especially just like it literally being a year ago that I remember being in your old apartment and you were like, dude, oh my god.
Yeah, a year ago tomorrow is when I recorded that first YouTube video.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to think about here. That first YouTube video was filmed using that tripod over there behind you.
Yeah.
And which is like a $20 ring light tripod that I bought off of Amazon for music. Yeah. Not even for TikTok.
Yeah.
I got it to record videos of me playing guitar. It was half an hour. I edited it in iMovie on my phone. Yeah. It's just me sitting in a chair talking to the camera. It's like half an hour long. It's got over 60,000 views now.
Yeah.
Fast forward exactly a year, I'm no longer in my living room. I am in the second bedroom of the 2-bedroom apartment that I have.
Yeah.
which has sound paneling. It has these two like lights that are Wi-Fi controlled.
Yep.
We've got multiple computers, multiple monitors. We've got 3 Yetis.
We have a logo.
We actually have 4 Yetis. We have a real logo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
It's wild.
looking around at everything.
Halfway famous. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild where this has gotten in the last year, and I am, considering how my life has been for the last year, I'm pretty grateful that we have it, because I don't know what I would be doing with my time.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. So it's been very cool, and we've, the community that we've built now is...
It's awesome.
You guys have made these so much fun. We actually look forward to doing this show because you guys are fun.
Yeah.
And it's just nice.
I mean, honestly, the most fun part of it, aside from us just getting to hang out and do stuff and mess around...
We're about to hit 600,000 views this week.
Nice.
Probably. Usually get about 3K a week.
That's pretty good, yeah.
It's actually more than that.
Yeah, all of you guys in the chat really make this show fun. I mean, just being able to, especially like if he's in the middle of a story and I just glance over and I just see you guys talking, whether it's to us or to each other, and saying like some random funny thing.
It's fun to pop in the Discord and see people just talking about stuff. And speaking of which, the Discord link is in the description of this video, as is our Target link, because we are partnered with Target now.
Oh,
so,
yeah, I forgot about that.
We both love the Goodfellow brand, specifically from Target for menswear. Super affordable. Jeans are like $40.
Yeah, it's not bad.
They're really comfortable. I'm wearing
I really
them right
like
now.
their flannels.
Their flannels are really nice. Their t-shirts are awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the t-shirts are great. They fit really well.
Yeah.
You can go and buy like from Fresh Clean Tees or what's the other one? There's just a few of those t-shirt companies for men that are trying to make less boxy t-shirts.
Yeah.
Goodfellow does it. They're
Yeah.
great. So yeah, if you got Target shopping to do that. It'll help us out and all that. And then what else do I have up there? And of course, Gaia Industries for all of your, bamboo possible products. I think they're definitely in the works of making more things, but those 5 that they've got right now are awesome. You should definitely check them out. I'm going to post the link on probably Instagram as well, because Wyatt was such a nice dude. But yeah, so that's all that. If you have not yet smashed the like button, there are 45 of you currently in this live stream. If I would love to see that number go up to 45 before the end of the show, if you feel like giving us that small thing. But yeah, so living for Wendosi. Oh boy.
What?
Living on a prayer cover, but it's about the Windows.
Oh my god. That'd be a lot.
Living for Wendosi.
Take my... I don't know.
Take my hand and make it.
There would have to be either very little changes or a lot of changes.
Take my hand and I will make it I swussy.
Living on Windowsy.
Living off Windowsy.
Yeah.
Living for Windowsy.
Yeah.
So it just has to be a C at the end of the day. Halfway there.
See. We're thinking too far along about this, yeah.
Whoa, conspiracy.
Rachel Newman, we have a video on Mothman if you'd like to check it out on our channel.
Yes, and we have an entire podcast episode.
Yeah, an entire podcast episode. So
to give you the short version, I like the idea that it's like an angel of death type thing, or a harbinger, an omen. People have been reporting seeing like black birds and stuff like that for hundreds of, possibly thousands of years as a bad omen. Take my hand, eat it if you dare.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God. All right. Well, that, I think, just about does it for the show tonight.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Happy 1-year Lodge-iversary to everybody. I guess that's it. Oh, by the way, Father's Day is coming up. You can book me on Cameo to say anything you want to your dad.
Cameo now?
Yeah, I'm on Cameo.
Oh my god.
If you go on Cameo and you search my name, it'll come up. I'll add the link to the description after this. But yeah, you can you can ask me to say literally anything to your dad, and I will do it.
Oh, jeez. That's a dangerous game.
And my prices are low, Aiden. They're low. For $10, I will say whatever you want to your father. Or you can get him some Lore Lodge gear.
Yeah.
From lorelodge.com.
Yeah.
Or
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be your father.
TheLoreLodge.shop.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be your father either. It could be anybody. But with Father's Day coming up.
Yeah, exactly. We should make some. I should do some 4th of July apparel like right now and put an ad out for it. Be there in time. So, we missed the last dono. What was it? We should get a real Lore Lodge and make a cult. That's the plan. We already have the cult. Now we just need the lodge.
Yeah.
We're halfway there.
Yeah. So, I think that just about does it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're really excited for this Missing 411 documentary to come out that we did. Fun. And we will catch you in a week. Thank you all so much. We will see you soon.